In this video, we'll talk about multiplying and dividing rational numbers. So let's talk about what a rational number is. So a rational number, there's two working definitions. One is with the decimal, and that would be either terminating or repeating decimal. And our second definition is with a fraction approach. And that would mean that if we have a rational number, we can write it as some a over b, a fraction involving only two integers. So if you think about this, 1/2, well, 1 and 2 are both integers. It's equal to 0.5, terminating decimal. 1/3, for example, again, 1 and 3, both integers. This is equal to 0.3, repeating. Both of these satisfy both definitions for a rational number, and we know that they are. So when we talk about multiplying two rational numbers, we can think of it as we're multiplying one fraction, let's call it a over b, times another fraction, c over d, let's say. Now the idea is we're going to multiply straight across. So we're going to multiply our numerators and multiply our denominators. This becomes a times c over b times d. And if this looks a little weird, that's okay. We're going to do an example here in just a second. So let's look at an example. If I wanted to multiply 2/3 times 5/6, it's actually pretty straightforward. We're just going to multiply the 2 times the 5 and the 3 times the 6. So there's the format that we just discussed with our variables. Now we can do some simplification here. 2 times 5 is 10, 3 times 6 is 18. So it's 10/18. And if we wanted to, we could reduce this down to, looks to be 5/9, actually. Yeah, 9ths, not 8ths. So we'll make that adjustment really quick. So either of these would be fine. If it has to simplify all the way, you'll want to reduce. But we just go straight across. Pretty straightforward. Nothing too crazy for multiplying fractions. Now let's talk about dividing. Dividing is a little different. So if we think about division, and again, let's do our a over b divided by c over d. Division is a little different. It's the inverse of multiplication. But we could say that this is the same thing as a over b times d over c, perhaps. And if we think about it, if I'm dividing a number by 2, so if I took 5 divided by 2, will that be the same as if I took half of 5? I'm multiplying by the reciprocal here. The reciprocal of 2 is 1/2. Likewise here, the reciprocal of c over d is d over c. And again, we'll do an example here to kind of illustrate this. So let's look at an example here. We've got 2/3 divided by 1/2. Well, I'm thinking we can rewrite it by switching the reciprocal on the second number. So 2/3 times, technically, 2 over 1. And then we just multiply. We're going to go straight across. So this becomes 4/3. And that's good. We could potentially convert it to a mixed number, so 1 and 1/3. But the improper fraction is just fine. It'll suit our needs. So that's how to multiply and divide rational numbers. It basically, division, you do multiplication of the reciprocal, and multiplication, you just go straight across. Don't overthink it. It's just going straight across. And contrary to our standard beliefs, multiplying and dividing fractions are actually easier than adding or subtracting. So keep that in mind when we get to the addition and subtraction.